ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्री कृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता तृतीयोऽध्यायः कर्मयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच जायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव. Arjuna said, Krishna, if you consider knowledge as superior to action, why then do you urge me to this dreadful action, Keshava? व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्. You are, as it were, puzzling my mind by these seemingly conflicting expressions. Therefore, tell me the one definite discipline by which I may obtain the highest good. श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्. Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, in this world, two courses of sadhana, spiritual discipline, had been enunciated by me in the past. In the case of the Sankhya yogi, the sadhana proceeds along the path of knowledge, whereas in the case of the karma yogi, it proceeds along the path of action. Na karmana manarambha naishkarmyam purushoshnute na cha sanyasana deva siddhim samadhigacchati. Man does not attain freedom from action, that is, culmination of the discipline of action, without entering upon action. Nor does he reach perfection, that is, culmination of the discipline of knowledge, merely by ceasing to act. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krita कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म sarva prakriti jairgunaihi. Surely none can ever remain inactive even for a moment, for everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti, that is, nature born qualities. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharasya uchyate. He who outwardly, restraining the organs of sense and action, sits mentally, dwelling on the objects of senses, that man of deluded intellect is called a hypocrite. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhatirjuna karmendriyaih karma yogam asaktasya vishishyate. On the other hand, he who, controlling the organs of sense and action by the power of his will and remaining unattached, undertakes the yoga of selfless action through those organs, Arjuna, he excels. नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः. Therefore, do you perform your allotted duty? Therefore, do you perform your allotted duty? For action is superior to inaction. Resisting from action, you cannot even maintain your body. यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर. Man is bound by his own action except when it is performed for the sake of sacrifice. Therefore, Arjuna, do you efficiently perform your duty, free from attachment, for the sake of sacrifice alone. Sahayajna praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam eshad eshavostvishta kamadhuk. Having created mankind along with Yajna at the beginning of creation, the Creator, Brahma, said to them, "You shall prosper by this. May this yield the enjoyments you seek." Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyatha. Foster the gods through this sacrifice, and let the gods be gracious to you. Thus, each fostering the other selflessly, you will attain the highest good. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattana pradayaibhyo yo bhunte stena eva saha. Fostered by sacrifice, the gods will surely bestow on you unasked all the desired enjoyments. He who enjoys the gifts bestowed by them without offering anything to them in return is undoubtedly a thief. Stena is a thief. Yajnashishtashinas santo muchyante sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate te tvagham papa epachantyatma karanat. The virtuous who partake of what is left over after sacrifice are absolved of all sins. Those sinful ones who cook for the sake of nourishing their bodies alone partake of sin only. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadanna sambhavaha यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्. All beings are evolved from food. Production of food is dependent on rain. Rain ensues from sacrifice, and sacrifice is rooted in prescribed action. Know that prescribed action has its origin in the Vedas, and the Vedas proceed from the indestructible God. Hence, the all pervading infinite is always present in sacrifice. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayah aghayurindriya ramaha mogham partha sajivati. Arjuna, he who does not follow the wheel of creation thus set in motion in this world, that is, does not perform his duties, leads a sinful and sensual life. He lives in vain. यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते. He, however, who takes delight in the self alone and is gratified with the self and is contented in the self has no duty to perform. नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो न कृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः. In this world, that great soul has nothing to gain by action, nor by abstaining from action, nor has he selfish dependence on any kind on any creature. Selfish dependence of any kind on any creature. तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः. Therefore, go on efficiently doing your duty at all times without attachment. Doing work without attachment, man attains the supreme. कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि. It is through action without attachment alone that Janaka and other wise men attained perfection. Having in view the maintenance of the world order too, you should take to action. यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते. For whatever a great man does, that very thing other men also do. Whatever standard he sets up, the generality of men follow the same. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. Arjuna, there is no duty in all the three worlds for me to perform, nor is there anything worth attaining, unattained by me. Yet I continue to work. This is where we stopped yesterday. Just reading a few paras before that. So that was Yajnadacharati Shresthaha Tatta Devetaro Janaha Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokas Tadanu Vartate. So, whatever an important person does, that alone the other people do. Whatever that person sets as proper, the world of people follows. So, Shrestha here refers to one who is considered to be important by other members of the society, a leader to be reckoned with, like a king, prince, judge, or an officer of some kind. The father of a given household is such a person, a role model. The word acharati in this verse refers to what one does in terms of how one lives, how one acts, and reacts to the variety of situations encountered in day to day life. A person who is looked up to. See, that is why as parents it's so important for us to be good role models. A person who is looked up to sets the trend for how everyone else lives. People always look up to someone, and whatever that person looks up to, looks upon as a standard, is what they follow. Here, the word pramana means the measure of what is right and what is wrong. The same word we have used earlier referred to a means of knowledge. If a king looks upon the Veda as a pramana, then most of his subjects will look upon it in the same way. This is exactly what happened in ancient India when Ashoka and other kings came under the influence of Buddhist monks. Because these kings no longer looked to the Veda as a pramana, a lot of people also shifted to Buddhism. Thus, converting people to any new interpretation of Vedic religion was very easy in India in those days. All that had to be done was to convert the king. Whatever became a pramana for the king became a pramana for his subjects. So they would just do a copy paste of whatever the king would do. Because people generally have neither the time nor the inclination to look into religious matters, they do not stand on their own. They tend to follow someone else and can be easily carried away merely because their leader has set a particular trend. Mao, for example, told the people that if they wanted to be efficient and accomplish their ends, they should read his red book every day. In this way, he made a scripture out of it. In India, too, it is said that by reading a particular verse or chapter every day, you will get this or that. The difference is that Mao's red book is not a scriptural authority. It is a worldly authority, a laukika pramana. It is not a Veda, Vaidika pramana. Any system or book becomes a pramana if you think it is going to solve all the problems of the world, including your own, of course. There are people, for example, who cannot go to the bank or do anything else unless they consult the I Ching or tarot cards. This is their pramana. In the same way, whatever a leader does, everyone else will do. Whatever he looks upon as his guidebook, his pramana, others will also look upon as a pramana, even if it is the red book. You will find that every revolution has some kind of book behind it. Mein Kampf, My Struggle, was the book Hitler's followers read and were inspired by. It became the pramana for them. Hitler's entire ideology is there, including what exactly Aryan rule is, how the Aryan race is bound to rule, and the superiority of the Aryan race. Whatever the pramana, Laukika or Vaidika, if it is considered a pramana by a Shrestha, people will follow it. Similarly, if a king says the Veda is not a pramana, then the people will give it up. And if he says it is a pramana, people will look into it. This is why Krishna told Arjuna that whether he liked it or not, he was a leader, and if he walked out, he would find that everyone else would also give up. Suppose, however, that Krishna had encouraged Arjuna to go and turning the horses around drove him to Rishikesh. All the other soldiers would also have turned around. They would have pitched camps there because Arjuna was there. All the subjects would also have gone to Rishikesh. If Arjuna wore a certain type of clothing, everyone would have dressed in the same way. If he wore Rudraksha beads, everyone would have them. Therefore, Krishna said, "This is how it is, Arjuna. Whatever you do is exactly what others are going to do because you are a Shrestha, a leader, someone who is important." Here, everybody is a leader in their own way. People living in the family, although the head of the family, the father, is considered to be the leader, what the mother does, what the child does, is also important. Because what the eldest sibling does, the other siblings will follow. So every action, everybody's action affects everybody else's actions. So therefore, everybody has to do their prescribed action and not be derelict of it. They cannot let it go. Because Arjuna's decision would have far reaching consequences, he had to look at his situation very carefully before he decided anything. Krishna also assured Arjuna that he would lose nothing by doing his duty. I think in the second chapter, he tells him, if you lose, you will go to heaven. If you gain, if you win the war, you will rule the kingdom. Hatva prapsasi swargam, jitva va bhokshase mahim. So therefore, you stand up and fight. If he was a jnani, his action would be based on his prarabdha and would create no problems for him. And if he was an ajnani, the action was definitely to be done. It was because it was his duty. This was Krishna's whole point here. Krishna then continued, pointing to himself with reference to the performance of action. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. Partha, O Partha, may, for me, kartavyam, to be done, na, not, asti, is. Trishu, in the three lokeshu worlds, anavaptam, not accomplished, avaptavyam, to be accomplished, kinchana, anything, na, not, cha, yet, karmani, in action, eva, indeed, varte, I am. So, Partha, me kartavyam na asti, trishu lokeshu, anavaptam, avaptavyam, kinchana na cha, karmani eva varte. O Partha, for me, there is nothing to be done. In the three worlds, there is nothing to be accomplished by me, which is not yet accomplished. Yet, I am engaged in action. If one is awake to one's own nature, awake to the self as akarta, then the state of actionlessness is achieved. Actionlessness does not imply the absence of activity. However, inactivity being impossible as long as one is alive, as we have already seen. A person is always doing one thing or another, whether he or she is a sannyasi, a karma yogi, or simply a karmi. Total renunciation of action is possible only in the form of knowledge that I am, that I, Atma, perform no action. Aham karma na karomi. So I will repeat this one again. If one is awake to one's own nature, awake to the self as akarta, then the state of actionlessness is achieved. That is Naishkarmya. With Atmajnana, Naishkarmya comes with Atmajnana. Actionlessness does not imply the absence of activity. However, inactivity being impossible as long as one is alive, as we have already seen. Na kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krit. Earlier in the third chapter we saw. A person is always doing one thing or another, whether he or she is a sannyasi, a karma yogi, or simply a karmi. Total renunciation of action is possible only in the form of knowledge. That is jnanena sarva karma sannyasa. That I, Atma, perform no action. Aham karma na karomi. This knowledge is an awakening. In my presence, all activities take place, as will be made clear later. I myself do not perform any action. This is not just a volitional or a self-hypnotizing thought. It is the recognition of a fact. This knowledge alone makes me a renunciate of all actions, in spite of my being seen to perform actions. From my own standpoint, there is no action whatsoever. All action is only from the standpoint of the physical body, mind, and sense organs. From their standpoint, there is action, whereas from the standpoint of the self, there is no action at all. This is what is called Naishkarmya, actionlessness. So this knowledge is an awakening. In my presence, all activities take place, as will be made clear later. I myself do not perform any action. This is like the shloka in Atma Bodh talking about the sun. The sun does not do anything, but the moment sun rises, in the presence of the sun, every other being starts its activity. All activity is done. Rajavat tadha. It is like the emperor, the king, who just sits. In the presence of the sun, everything else is happening. Similarly, this is not just a volitional or a self-hypnotizing thought. It's not enough if we just tell ourselves, oh, I'm not the doer, I'm not the doer. No, this comes with recognizing, understanding the fact. It is the recognition of a fact. This knowledge alone makes me a renunciate of all actions, in spite of my being seen to perform actions. From my own standpoint, there is no action whatsoever. All action is only from the standpoint of the body, mind, sense organs. From their standpoint, there is action. Whereas from the standpoint of the self, There is no action at all. This is what is called Naishkarmya, actionlessness. Whether you have achieved this knowledge of actionlessness or not, doing karma is in no way a problem. In fact, if you have come to know what the self is, then all there is for you is prarabdha. Lord Krishna knew Arjuna's prarabdha very well. If you know the action-free self, whatever your prarabdha dictates, whatever the situation warrants, you do. Such karma does not bind you at all. So, whatever you have achieved, whether you have achieved this knowledge of actionlessness or not, doing karma is in no way a problem. That is why earlier he said, if you are a jnani, then action is not a problem because it does not bind you. Therefore, stand up and fight. If you are an ajnani, you had pretty well do this karma because it is to be done. In fact, if you have come to know what the self is, then all there is for you is prarabdha. Lord Krishna knew Arjuna's prarabdha very well. If you know the action-free self, whatever your prarabdha dictates, whatever the situation warrants, you do. Such karma does not bind you at all. Just like how Janaka and all the other kings, those that are enlightened, they continue to do their kingly duties. Those that karma will not bind them because jnanena sarva karma. They've not, because they had that knowledge of the self. If you are an ajnani, unaware of the fact about the Atma, then karma can become a yoga for you, neutralizing your raga dveshas, your likes and dislikes. Raga dveshas cannot be neutralized unless you pay attention to them, which is what karma yoga is all about. Either way, then, whether you are a jnani or an ajnani, you can perform action. So, if you are an ajnani, unaware of the fact about the Atma, then karma can become a yoga for you. Neutralizing your raga dveshas, your likes and dislikes. Because we have so many raga dveshas embedded. So unless we are performing action, they will not spring up and we will not know they exist. So just by renouncing action and not doing karma, sitting in the Himalayas meditating, that person would not be better than a mithyachara, a hypocrite, because he still has so many ragadveshas embedded in his psyche that has to be neutralized. So only when you go out there and act will they have an opportunity to be neutralized. So ragadveshas cannot be neutralized unless you pay attention to them, which is what karma yoga is all about. Either way, then, whether you are a jnani or an ajnani, you can perform action. For a jnani, performing action according to prarabdha is not a problem because karma does not bind. For an ajnani, it is necessary that he does action to neutralize raga dveshas. So either which way, action is to be performed. What is there to accomplish? Here in this verse, Krishna talked about himself with reference to action, saying that there was nothing to be done by him. nothing that was not accomplished, nor anything that had yet to be accomplished. The expression in all the three worlds, Trishu Lokeshu, is meant to cover the entire universe and any others that may exist as well. Krishna had no mandate whatsoever, either here on earth or in heaven or anywhere else. He was not duty bound in any way. Only when there is something to be accomplished is there something to be done. If there is something to be accomplished in order to make myself better, then I must definitely do whatever is to be done. Without doing, I cannot accomplish, and without accomplishing, I will not be satisfied. I will be stuck with the desire to accomplish, which is what makes a person a samsari. However, for Krishna, there was no such thing as not accomplished or to be accomplished.
Vijay Gurudev, what makes a person samsari? Just sentence, I missed it.
I will, no, if there is something to be accomplished, I'll read this again. So, only when there is something to be accomplished is there something to be done. If there is something to be accomplished in order to make myself better, then I must definitely do whatever is to be done. Without doing, I cannot accomplish, and without accomplishing, I will not be satisfied. I will be stuck with the desire to accomplish, which is what makes a person a samsari.
Hello.
Yes.
Brahma, your voice has been breaking a
Is it?
lot. I don't know.
Is it? Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I wasn't sure up for other people. No,
Is
it's
it
okay. I mean,
for
just
everyone?
few lines. When you are reading again, it was breaking. But it's okay. We are seeing
Okay.
now. But just wanted to know that. Yeah.
Has that been going on for a while? Because there's no indication for me here that it's uh, my internet is cracking. So let me know from where it was breaking. Was it for a while ago?
No, yeah, when you're repeating it, the only when there is something to be accomplished.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know if it is if it's breaking quite a bit. Let me see if I can close it to the router. Only when there is something to be accomplished is there something to be done. If there is something to be accomplished in order to make myself better, then I must definitely do whatever is to be done. Without doing, I cannot accomplish, and without accomplishing, I will not be satisfied. I will be stuck with the desire to accomplish, which is what makes a person a samsari. However, for Krishna, there was no such thing as not accomplished or to be accomplished because he knew he was everything. Knowing this, everything was accomplished. There was nothing for him to do. Kartavyam nasti, because there was nothing for him to gain or lose. So, when does a person become a samsari? When he has a desire to accomplish something out there in the world. Samsari is a bhogi, right? A bhogi is what? One who manipulates the world to be happy. Whereas a yogi is one who manipulates his mind. Whereas for a jnani does not need to manipulate anything. He knows everything. So there is nothing to be accomplished, nothing yet to nothing to accomplish, nothing yet to be accomplished. Because he knows everything. He is everything. Yet he continues to do. If I want antakarana shuddhi, I have something to be done. Kartavyam asti. I have to do karma with a karma yoga attitude, yoga buddhi. Only then will my mind become pure enough for the knowledge to take place. And of course, I have to do karma if I want to fulfill my raga dveshas. So, for a karma yogi, the only thing that he or she is interested in is to attain antakarana shuddhi. Because in this pure mind, only knowledge is capable of being realized. Whereas if one is just a bhogi, one is just following his raga dveshas, even then karma has to be done. Most people have a long list of items to be done in order to fulfill their likes and dislikes, and they perform actions for this purpose alone. For such people, fulfilling their likes and dislikes is important because they do not want to be bugged by unfulfilled desires. However, desires, kamas, are no different than bugs. They breed and grow very quickly. Desire bugs do not remain single or childless. There is no infertility with desires. They make sure that before they go, they have left behind at least a handful and have a definite knack of generating their own species in great abundance. How true that is. It's like pouring ghee into the fire. The the more ghee you pour, the greater the fire. It's like pouring into a bottomless pit. It You continue to pour, it'll never fill up. So similarly, our desires are like that. So they are like bugs. Most people have a long list of items to do, and they perform actions for this purpose alone. For such people, fulfilling their likes and dislikes is important because they do not want to be bugged by unfulfilled desires. However, desires, karmas are no different than bugs. They breed and grow very quickly. Desire bugs do not remain single or childless. They make sure that before they go, they have left behind at least a handful and have a definite knack of generating their own species in great abundance. Desire produces other desires, its nature being to continually perpetuate itself. Like fire that leaves a black trail on charred earth and never says enough. Don't give me any more fuel. I have burnt up so many houses already. Desire too will never complain. This is why desire is described poetically as the villain of the piece of samsara. There is no way of having a desire without fulfilling it. Thus, we always have a list of things to be done. Karyam kartavyam asti. So, desires are like the villain of the piece of samsara because one desire produces another desire. It is like that mythological person where you, one drop of that Rakta Bijasura, one drop of his blood falls on the ground, there are more of him sprout up. Also, like the heads of Ravana. You cut off one head, again it sprouts back. Similarly, desire is like that. They continually perpetuate themselves. Like fire. Fire never says it's enough. Therefore, we always have a list of things to be done. That's why we all put things to do, plan list. The person who understands Atma as the whole is free from those desires that are binding in nature. Is my voice okay or is it still cracking? Just let me know.
It's good, Dr. Brahmara. It's
It's
fine.
good? Okay.
Yeah.
But this does not mean that such a person does not perform action. The person who understands Atma as the whole is free from those desires that are binding in nature. But this does not mean that such a person does not perform action. Krishna, who was no ordinary person, was driving Arjuna's chariot. He was a king, the king of Dwaraka. But he did not consider driving a chariot a mean job. There was dignity in his labor. In fact, he felt honored when Arjuna asked him to drive the chariot, and he happily agreed to do so. See, so many takeaways here. Dignity of labor. Whatever is to be done, do it. No action is considered superior or inferior. If cleaning the house is your duty, you pretty well do it. Have the dignity of labor. Krishna was always doing one thing or another. His entire life had been one of activity, even though there was nothing for him to accomplish. From childhood onwards, he had been destroying one demon after another. And if there was nothing else to do, he would pick up his flute and keep everyone else busy, singing and dancing. This was Krishna, always active. Before I came here to drive your chariot, I went as a mediator to Duryodhana. Krishna could have said to Arjuna. I played the role of a messenger, in fact. Then I came back and told you what Duryodhana said, and now I'm driving your chariot. And in response to your request that I teach you, I'm doing that too right now. Why was Krishna always in the midst of action? This he answered in the next verse. So let's just share. Let me know if I've repeated actually almost in the paras, except the last one. Although he did not have anything to accomplish, he was active all throughout. Right from his childhood, he's been destroying one demon after the other.
It wasn't any blinding desire, right? That he is trying to do, and he's
Yeah,
doing it everything happily, and
correct.
not like he's, contrast to this in the same Mahabharata, when king of Salva, Salva king, or I forgot this, that he was asked to do the chariot for the Karna. So he was, oh, I am king, I am so and so, and why should I do this? And then Duryodhana really pressed him to. Then he agrees because he said he will work in his on his behalf. So he kind of pressed him to do it, and he agreed finally. But then still, he wouldn't do a great job of that because of that different personalities of Karna and with that ego. They both of them have big ego. Whereas with Arjuna and Krishna, they don't have that. Even in that kind of projection, like they don't have that ego, and again, as Bhagavan Krishna, he always thinks about what is to be done, and he was on top of it all the time.
It was Krishna's prarabdha to be Arjuna's charioteer,
Yeah,
right? It was his prarabdha also to teach.
right.
So he's a jnani, but he is in the living body. He is doing what, according to prarabdha, is to be done. And he is happily doing it. He
Saying
does not
okay. Mm-hmm.
he does
Mm,
not have any inferiority complex saying, oh, I'm the king of Yadavas. Why am I your charioteer? He doesn't
right.
have emotions, right?
Mm, yeah.
Because he has nothing to accomplish, nothing yet to be accomplished.
Yeah, that comes down to everyone, right? This part of the water we are
Correct.
undergoing, or we are supposed to go through all the things that we are going through.
See, both Jnani and Ajnani have prarabdha
Mm.
in the physical body. They're born, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in order to exhaust that prarabdha, the Jnani will continue to act, but with a state in a state of naishkarmya, actionlessness. There is nothing for him to gain from doing it. He just continues to do.
Yeah.
Whether it is just meditating like Ramana Maharshi, sitting quietly, or like doing Devi Puja, Durga Puja, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did. He continued to propitiate the Devi.
Yeah.
Or like Krishna, he did became a charioteer and did mediation between the two parties, continued to destroy demons. So that was his prarabdha. Contrasting that, an Ajnani also has prarabdha. But an Ajnani has to prepare his ground for knowledge to take place. And that preparing the ground requires him to act without attachment as a karma yogi, manipulating not the world but his mind, neutralizing therefore his raga dveshas. Otherwise, we are only fooling ourselves. If we cannot make this change, inner attitudinal change, we are no better than what Swamiji calls as armchair vivekis. They may only rattle out some concepts and some ideas and some Vedantic concepts, but in effect, they know better than armchair vivekis. If we do not bring about this attitudinal shift in the mind, that of a karma yogi. So the next verse he says, why was Krishna always in the midst of action? This he answered in the next verse. Yadihyaham na varteyam jatu karmanyatandritaha mama vartmanuvartante manushya partha sarvashaha. He, because Partha, O Partha, jatu, ever, yadi aham na varteyam, should I ever not engage myself, atindriyaha, atandritaha, without being lazy, karmani, in action, manushyaha, human beings, mama, my, vartma, path or example, sarvashaha, in every way, anuvartante, would follow. He, Partha, jatu, yadi aham na varteyam, atandritaha, कर्मणि मनुष्याः मम वर्त्म सर्वशः अनुवर्तन्ते. Because should I ever not engage myself in action without being lazy, O Partha, people would follow my example in every way. They will say, oh, see, Krishna did not do, so why should I do? That's what most siblings say, no? You did not do, so why should I do? Children also say the same thing. So they would just follow the leader. Here Krishna told Arjuna that if ever he became inactive, all human beings would follow him in this respect. They may not have followed him in certain other respects, but in this matter of inaction, they would definitely follow him. See what Krishna is doing, they would say. He just sits. Therefore, we should all just sit too. What is the use of doing anything? This life of samsara is useless. Therefore, let us do nothing. No one who performs action ever achieves anything. So just imagine if the whole world came to a standstill like that. How is this universe going to sustain itself? The cycle of creation. So the ecology there is, ecology gets affected. That interdependence gets affected. If each one does not do their job, if every aspect of a machine says, I'm not going to function, if the nut says, I'm not going to sit in place, and it comes loose, all the parts will come apart. If the piston says, oh, I'm so tired, I don't want to, the nut is not working, so I'm not going to work, the piston doesn't move, there is no function that happens from that machine. So all that is achieved by this line of thinking, of course, is that you become worse. It is like saying that since everyone who underwent any treatment eventually died, I should not undergo treatment of any kind. Or because everyone who eats has problems at one time or the other, I should not eat. Everyone who talks quarrels with someone, therefore I should not talk. To decide not to talk simply because when you talk it causes problems does not really solve the problem. You may not be talking externally, but you will definitely be talking internally. Previously, you talked to people, and now you talk only to yourself. There may be a problem caused by talking, but it will not be solved by not talking. Krishna knew that if he did nothing, everyone would follow him because doing nothing always looks easy. Activity definitely implies a certain will. Thus, there is a tendency to go for the convenient or the pleasant and to avoid anything that is painful. People generally think that the most pleasant activity of all is to do nothing. Doing something may imply pain and therefore is thought to be unpleasant. Thus, if people are to do anything at all, it should only be something that is pleasant. If, however, you keep to this course, life eventually becomes full of painful situations because you have done only the pleasant, leaving undone whatever is painful. In this way, you are left with only the painful. You become a pain to yourself and to everyone else as well. If you keep on postponing the painful, then you will be stuck with the painful alone. The pleasant is done and the painful remains undone. In fact, there need be nothing painful about such activities, providing you do them. Then they are out of your way and you have only the pleasant to do. Still, people are people, which is the reason Krishna, the king of Dwaraka, praised as an avatara, an incarnation of Ishvara, had to set an example and perform action. It's very beautiful. We'll repeat this again.
Yeah, this pleasant, unpleasant, very beautiful, all. Wow.
Yeah. That is why there is this rule. If you have a lot of things to do, tackle the hardest first. Because usually what we do, we tackle the easy ones first. The hard is left, the hard part is left. So that's the same fundamental thing that people normally think, to do the pleasant things first. So they leave the unpleasant, and that alone becomes a pain. No doubt being silent is good, but then if the previous paragraph says not talking, instead of talking externally, you start talking internally. So that is not solving the problem. So action is better than inaction. That's why at 47th verse of chapter 2, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbuhu ma te sangostva akarmani. Don't get attached to inaction. It's very easy to get attached to inaction. Oh, I will not do anything. But doing nothing, you're actually getting more and more into the samsara. There are more problems. It doesn't solve a problem. So anybody wants to share anything? The last two verses that we've done. Let's each one share one takeaway. So there are different ways of looking at action to be done. Are we doing action in order to gain something? Are we following our raga dveshas? Then you are a samsari. Because desires are unending. One desire leads to another and another and another. Whereas you're doing duty, you're doing what is to be done with an attitude of a karma yogi. You still have something to accomplish, and that one thing to be accomplished is antakarana shuddhi. That one thing to be accomplished is neutralizing the raga dveshas. Jnani can also do action, but in his case, this is the highest state of actionlessness. He's doing without the sense of doership. Why? Because he has the knowledge of the Atma. He is everything, like how Krishna is. That's why happily he became Arjuna's charioteer. For him, there was nothing big, small action. So how we evolve from just being a karmi to a karma yogi, and then finally to a jnani. Yeah, we'll stop here today.
But it's talked of this pleasant action versus pleasant things versus painful things, which is
Yeah.
obviously we put off the painful things, right? So,
Mm.
so you don't have that. First of all, that the desire can be there. Like as I was thinking, oh, we always have list of things to do, but
Right.
then, but the desire is there, but it's supposed to be non-binding desires.
Mm.
Um, so where what that part of it we have to remember that this non-binding desire. And then second thing is, as you said, that neutralizing raga dveshas. How do you go about it? You do that karma with the karma yogic attitude. In terms of this pleasant and unpleasant stuff, it is uh, we have to take this example of Bhagavan Krishna, whether you like it or not, you have to kill the demon, you have to kill the demon, and you have to take care of. Same time, you take the flute and plays. That also is a nice thing to do. I mean, take it easy, right? So it's just one of those mindset we have to have that free will to, like yesterday you mentioned that, so we have to have all this, not only mind and body has to be healthy to do all the stuff, but you have to have that determination and free will to do it.
Yeah. With respect to pleasant and unpleasant, see,
Yeah.
the actions can be classified as sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, right? So,
Mm,
um, sattvic actions are those which are, to begin with, they appear difficult. Vishamiva.
mm,
Yattadagre vishamiva. Pariname amritopamam. But the parinama is very beautiful. Example is your
mm,
sadhana. See, there may be some people who say, oh, sadhana, oh, pranayam, I don't want to do. So it's better to just sit and laze around in the couch,
yeah.
right? But what happens eventually when you keep lazing out in the couch?
Yeah.
You will end up having some health problem or the other. Something, you basically end up with an unpleasant mind. What else do you
Mm,
want, right? So if
right.
people are to do it, it should on, where is that? Doing something may imply pain and therefore is thought to be unpleasant. So thus there is a tendency to go for the convenient or the pleasant and to avoid anything that is painful. See, commitment, any form of discipline requires a bit of pain. There is some pain involved because you have to set everything else aside and then do it.
Mm, right.
So people generally think that the most pleasant activity of all is to do nothing. Doing something may imply pain and therefore is thought to be unpleasant.
Yeah.
So then, if however you keep to this course, life eventually becomes full of painful situations because you have done only the pleasant, leaving undone whatever is painful. You don't want to brush your teeth, you don't brush. What happens eventually? You end up with
Cavity or
caries and
whatever.
painful teeth.
Mm,
In
yeah.
this way, you are left only with the painful. You become a pain to yourself and to everyone else as well. You're not doing your sadhana, you're not following Viveka and Vairagya. You become an unhappy person, and an unhappy person is a pain for everybody else. Whereas, so if you keep on postponing the painful, you will be stuck with the painful alone. So, therefore, in fact, there need be nothing painful about such activities, providing you do them. Then they are out of your way and you have only the pleasant to do. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, we'll stop here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishnarpanamastu.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Accept those parts of the body where you feel a tension. The other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.